Hi, I'm Uncle Ricky, and this is a special episode of Uncle Ricky's House. This is the small town, small community politics episode. I already did one interview with Mrs. Helen Robertson Simmons. She's running for 3rd District Board of Supervisors, Nottoway County. That was exciting. She had a lot to say. But this episode, I'm interviewing Ms. Abi Messer, Democratic candidate in the 1st District of Nottoway County for Nottoway County Schoolboard. These two interviews, I was I was really impressed, man, that people actually are that interested, that are actually that concerned about their counties and are sacrificing their time and their health in some cases to run to make their counties better. Check out these interviews, check out these people, and if you feel persuaded to vote for them, go ahead and vote for them. If you are a candidate from any party for any position, if you're a citizen that just wants to comment on the political situation in your area, feel free to contact me. There'll be contact information in the comments with this video. Um, Other than that, let's hear what Miss Abby Messer has to say.
Yes. So my name is Abi Messer. I'm running for school board for District 1, Nottoway County. And so one of the main reasons I'm running for school board is because I have a daughter that's enrolled in Nottoway County Public Schools. She's currently in 5th grade. She's wonderful. And, I have a lot of friends, and she has a lot of friends in school, and I have a lot of friends with children in the school system as well. I've seen the issues that parents have been dealing with as well as myself, not only as a county, but also as a nation as well. There's teacher shortages everywhere, and I've seen kids being pulled out of Nottoway County for various reasons and going to other schools or being homeschooled. And I think public education is starting to get a bad rep. And I thrived on public education. I went to Nottoway County Public Schools, kindergarten through graduation, graduated in 98 with an advanced diploma and quite a few college credits due to their dual enrollment program as well. Um, I love Nottoway County, and I love its residents, and I love the people here. So, um, yeah, that's kind of why I'm running and see what I can do to make positive change in our school system.
Ms. Messer, Nottoway County School Board has been in the paper a lot over the last 3, maybe 4 years, along with most of the Nottoway County administration. But in your opinion, why is the spirit of unrest or conflict or uh, lack of resolution, the inability to do anything in an efficient manner, plaguing the school board at this time?
I think a lot of conflict comes with just them not being able to come together and either agree to disagree and come together to benefit the students and the staff and the teachers to help support them in all ways. Sometimes their own hidden agendas get in the way. Um, I also want to make sure that our schools are compliant with IDEA. I have a child with unique learning, um, with unique learning styles, and I just want to make sure we always stay in compliance with what Virginia Department of Education says we should with our special education program as well. I think our school board should always work towards finding the best way to help support our students and staff and teachers.
Ms. Messer, what do you think the main function or the goal of the Nottoway County School Board should be, regardless of the situation or conditions?
Our school board should always work towards finding the best way to help support our students and staff and teachers.
Ms. Messer, it's obvious that the economics affects everything, and it's even more obvious that in a small community like Nottoway, money is the answer to some problems, but it's also, it could be the source of the problem, the lack of or the inability to spend it effectively. What do you think is the major issue with the Nottoway County School Board's cash shortage?
I think it's both. We're yeah, we're a poor community. We always have been. We're a rural community, so it goes to show that we're never going to get the amount of money that Northern Virginia schools have and Richmond schools. We'll never get that amount of money. So we need to make sure we spend every dollar that we do get in an appropriate fashion so it does support all students, not just a select few.
So you're saying that the lack of public transportation or an efficiently operating uh, county public school bus system would be a definite detractor uh, for trying to implement a charter school system in a rural area like Nottoway County?
Right. We can't even get the buses to run on time currently. We have a bus driver shortage. I've already been notified of once this week that my child's bus was going to be late. Several parents have already said, "Hey, it hasn't been but a few weeks back in school. My kid's bus has been late twice this week already." Um, so if we can't even get our own transportation together, what makes anybody think that we can actually transport students somewhere farther away? The Babs is not going to do it.
You mentioned the disparity in admission to the gifted program along racial lines. In other words, there's a big difference between the number of black students that are admitted into the gifted program versus white students. Now, a lot of people would come up with 1,000 different, laboratory rat theories on why this is, and a lot of people that came up in Nottoway or are from Nottoway would just plainly say it's racism. What is your opinion on the level that racism has affected Nottoway County public schools?
I'm not sure if it's affected the entire school board. I do know that it has come into play with some people on the school board. But I can't really talk on people's character because I don't really know everybody on the school board as well. I think for as far as students go in Nottoway County, that a lot of them don't, they're very accepting of one another, and they probably wish that a lot of us adults would just shut up and get over it, you know.
It's amazing, but throughout this conversation, we've always come back to money. And one of the reasons Nottoway is not getting the funds that they need is because the student population is decreasing. And I hate to put it this way, but the state kind of like does when it comes to schools. They do pay by the body. They allot so much for every student. And if the student population is decreasing, it's one thing if the family is moving out and moving away from Nottoway, going to another location. But in the case of Nottoway, a good percentage of the children that are leaving public school, they're not leaving Nottoway County. They're going to private school or they're being homeschooled, like you mentioned in the beginning. Can you give me a quick rundown on why you think this condition exists and why it is so prevalent in Nottoway County public schools.
So since I said I do have friends and stuff that have pulled their children from Nottoway and taken them either to homeschooling or to the local private schools, what I'm seeing that they're really liking about the private schools is that they foster an environment where they welcome parents to be involved in the schools. I think we need to get back into that. I know every school right now is working on getting a PTA or a PTSA established for them. I had brought back the PTO at Crew Primary last year, and we did a lot of great events trying to foster that parent involvement back into schools. But it's all on parents as well. You can volunteer. I've asked a lot of people to volunteer for PTO, PTA, and they say they just don't have the time. And you're speaking to the wrong person when you say you don't have the time. I do a lot of volunteer work. I lead a Girl Scout troop. I lead a 4-H club. I did the PTO last year. I'm running for school board, and I'm a single mom who works full time and owns a home and a small farm. So if I can find the time to do it, uh, I know a lot of others do it. Now, granted, I have one child, so it's not like I'm trying to cart around 2, 3 kids to get them to various activities and stuff like that. But studies have shown that parental involvement in schools increases your child's sense of worth, increases your how your child does in school academically, and it does better for the school system as well. Another reason that I've noted that parents have pulled their children out of Nottoway is the discipline issues that we have going on in Nottoway, the bullying, the fights. I was happy to see I went back and read through this year's revised code of conduct for Nottoway, and I was happy to see that they put a lot more in there as far as consequences to some infractions, but there's really no set consequences for things like bullying. There's no real set consequences for things like fights. Um, I know there's a school system that has implemented a public school system in the state that has implemented a fighting disciplinary actions that the first fight you have to you get called and you do some kind of, it's almost like a trial. You do some kind of like trial, and then you have to do some kind of community service, whether it's in the school or out of the school. Second infraction, you goes a lot further. That's not written in our code of conduct. And I think kids need to know what their actual consequences are in order to keep them from doing the bad behaviors. I also believe that every behavior is a form of communication from a child. Um, what is that child trying to communicate with us? If now, I will say in the code of conduct, there is a definite um, consequence listed for any type of assault or anything towards a teacher, staff member, anybody like that, but not against students versus students. And we need to protect our students as well.
Okay, you've mentioned PTA, which is Parent Teachers Association, and PTSA, which is something that's actually a little bit new to me. I know what it means. It means Parent Teacher Student Association. But back when I was going to school and we didn't have tablets, we had stones and chisels. But no, we only had the PTA, the Parent Teacher Association. And I have to say, like through elementary school, it was booming. But once, middle school came along and senior high school, PTA wasn't really relevant. And I guess from what you're saying, you're trying to revitalize the PTA system throughout the Nottoway County schools in order to to give more cohesiveness, I guess, between the parents, the teachers, and the students, because you're recommending for from middle school on up that we have PTSAs. Can you give me a quick explanation of what the benefits of this might be?
Right. So that's also when Dr. Grimes and I sat down and we talked about the whole PTA issue uh and everything in the schools. I said, well, I really think that as far as the intermediate school, middle school, and high school, that they should be PTSAs. They should be parent teacher student associations. That gives I think that would give students a sense of ownership, help them build leadership skills, make them prideful of their schools, make them proud of where they go to school if they get to have input. I also think that they should be heard during select school board meetings as well. Maybe not at every single one, but every two or every three, maybe quarterly, that we should have a student forum as well to hear what their grievances are and hear maybe either what they do like what's going on or what they don't like what's going on.
So far, from the discussion we've been having, I get the feeling that you understand that money is a key factor, but I also am starting to understand that you believe that uh, providing a system where parents, teachers, and students work together for the common good would be more productive. That's why you push the PTA and the PTSA. Can you give me a synopsis of what you expect if your plans go forward?
That's a good question, and I'm hoping to promote that change. You know, parenting styles have changed over the years. I they have changed a lot. Mental health is a huge issue, and I think parents of the at least parents that are parenting children of my age are starting to actually focus on that. And we need to start treating our children as human beings. They're not our property. They are not our belongings. They are right. They're not our pets. They're not our projects. They are human beings with their own thoughts, their own feelings, their own wants, their own needs, their own ideas, their own dreams, and their own goals. And it's time we start supporting that instead of constantly saying, you do what I say because I say it. Um, that doesn't make sense.
So, if I'm reading you right, um, it takes cooperation from all the key players to make this school system work or get it back on its feet again and turn it into I guess, a intelligence processing factory like it should be. But social conditions are so much different from when you were in school, and they are definitely different from when I was in school. And high schools, public schools are a microcosm of society. So anything that goes on in society, you will more than likely, at some level, find it in your public school system, or the effects from people experiencing it out in the outside world come into play inside of the school. Can you tell me how you perceive this? How you recognize this as a problem, and what you intend to recommend that we do to alleviate the problem?
Well, you know, not every parent in this county is in the same situation. We're all struggling. Yes, we are. We're all struggling to get by just as a nation, but we're not all in the same situation. Um, there's homeless. There are homeless families in Nottoway, believe it or not. There are you know, there are teenagers that are in the high school that have to work jobs as many hours as they can to help support their families. Not like it was when I was a teenager was I worked at a job so I could afford gas money to go where I wanted. And my mom said if I wanted a car, I had to pay my car insurance. I mean, that was it. But now you've got teens that have to walk to work because one, they don't have transportation already, and they have to get to that job to help support their families. So we need to also understand that we don't have parents all in the same situation. However, but when we do have parents that are in a little better situation, that have more time, and that are maybe a little stable with their mental health currently, that if they can step up to the plate and start doing a little more help, that might pick up some of the slack. I think teachers aren't being supported by parents anymore. You know, I tell my daughter's teachers I'm very open to communication. I'm very receptive. I'm very responsive. If there's an issue, call me. If there's something going on, text me, call me, smoke signal me, whatever you need to do. I want to know. But I also know there are parents that they don't have the mental capacity for that right now. They're worried about how they're going to pay their rent, how they're going to afford gas to get back and forth to work. How are they going to find childcare for the shifts that they have to work as well? So um, I hate it when people get on in front of the school board and the first thing they say is it starts at home. Well, darn it, we all know that. We all know it starts at home. But some of us are just struggling a little bit more than others. Um, and I think we need to support the students whose parents are struggling. We need to find ways to support them, whether it be through mental health, whether it be through counseling programs. I just recently found out from a school board meeting last year that we even had a mental health referral program. Gosh, I had no idea. Sure would have loved to know that when my daughter's father died last December.
Okay, so now we're at the point where we have a school system that constantly complains about they're short on this, short on that, they're unable to do this, they're unable to do that. But they do have services in place that nobody hardly knows about. Can you like enlighten me on why that is?
Whereas there's some of those services, um, some of those services I think that aren't, well known or advertised or publicized might be for the fact that I know that the school counselor, the mental health specialist, there was one for all schools, and they were just overloaded. So, if you advertise these programs, of course, there's going to be, look at this county, there's tons of people that are going to jump on that. They just don't have the people for the caseload.
Once again, it all boils back to the economy and money. Um, the economy affects the school system. The economy affects the outside world. The two have to interact, and it's a negative impact on the parents, the teachers, and the students. Um, Part of this is, I guess, I know you mentioned like some things that I never even heard of when I was growing up in Nottoway. You talked about homelessness. Now, I know firsthand about homelessness from living in Philadelphia and being on the wrong side of a few things, back in the day. But even though I'm firsthand familiar with homelessness, what it means to be homeless, what the real definition of homelessness is, I'm kind of shocked to hear about it in Nottoway County. Maybe that's because I still have, more childhood images of Nottoway than I do of adult images compared to the rest of the world. But you said that the people's perceptions of things are changing, and that's affecting the school system. Can you expound on that a little bit more so we get a better understanding?
People people think that, the homeless is people standing on the street with a sign or sleeping on a park bench. No, it's couch hopping, couch surfing, going from friend's house to friend's house, family, sleeping with your aunt at your aunt's house. I mean, there's homelessness. There's definite homelessness, and there's definite lack of resources of all kinds in this county. I will say what really helped a lot of families in this county, for the past few years from the pandemic on were those monthly food giveaways, those food drives. I found myself in those lines at Crew Primary quite often. Um, I mean, and it helped, and it was good stuff. And what I also really liked about it, and those that people weren't ashamed to get in those lines. There has been a stigma wrapped around getting help and getting services in the past, and hopefully that stigma is starting to go away. But um, and it's a sad reason why the stigma is going away is that we just all need it. It's ridiculous.
So is like the answer really that obvious? In is it? Can you see the answer in the problem, the way that you know times are affecting the parents, the teachers, and the children? And what what do you think that the general opinion is among the youth in Nottoway County concerning the economic situation, the school situation, and just the general bad times that the county is experiencing?
We have great kids in this county. Oh my gosh, we have amazing children in this county. From kindergarten all the way up to high school. The kids here are amazing. They are suffering. They're suffering. They are struggling. They see what their parents are going through. They are feeling the crunch too. They're not dumb. They get it. They see it. So, and right, right. And like I said, every behavior is a form of communication. When we have these bad behaviors, what are they communicating? What of their needs are not being met? And it is right. And it's our job as adults, as parents, um as administration, as school staff, as teachers. It is our job and our responsibility to try to figure that out and help and guide them through it.
Okay, I think we've pretty much established the fact that Nottoway County is needy. Therefore, Nottoway County public school systems are or system is needy also. But you were saying that like talking about communication and clarity when you were talking about the guidelines, the discipline guidelines for the county, how they've been updated. But they still don't say enough. They lack in the areas where actually the general point of concern is, and that is the student. Is it? Am I like reading you correct when I think you're trying to also infer that maybe it's not the teachers not caring or the parents not caring or even the students not caring. It's just that all three groups are not open to or receptive or correctly reading the signals being sent out by the students.
Right. And like I said, every behavior is a form of communication. When we have these bad behaviors, what are they communicating? What of their needs are not being met? And it is right. And it's our job as adults, as parents, um as administration, as school staff, as teachers. It is our job and our responsibility to try to figure that out and help and guide them through it.
Well, in a realistic situation, whether you have enough money or you don't have enough money, you still have to spend money, or else the doors will close. And I guess the argument right now is about, do we spend it on the people? In other words, invest in academics programs, uh, better better textbooks, better curriculum, or more teachers, or do we spend it on the physical aspects, building maintenance, uh, new building projects, upkeep, that type thing. Because when it comes to the budget, there always seems to be an argument. Let's just say uh, between the right and the left. The left usually goes for the people, and the right usually goes for other things like athletics. And not that I have anything against athletics, but it's a school, and the main purpose of a school is to educate. The athletics are nice, it draws attention to the school, it gives the athletic kids an opportunity to advance, but every kid is not an athlete, and they need the academics in order to compete for scholarships. Is it possible that, the county, the school board, is going more for the show than, let's say, for lack of a better word, they are for the go?
No, certainly. I do agree that the high school gym does have its flaws. However, I also think that there are better ways we need to spend our money right now. Um, right, right. We have a gym, and I do know it has its flaws, and I understand that, but there are other things that we need to spend our money on right now. The intermediate school, the playground there. My daughter hates recess. Hates it. She said she would rather be inside in the air conditioner doing schoolwork than being out there in the hot sun with no shade on the pavement with little things to do. She hates recess. So that's an area that could be focused on a little bit. The gym in the middle school, does it still have that foam rubber floor? Like, come on now, that's a little that's a little much there. So that could be fixed as well. Our auditorium is a little bit lacking too. But I know that a lot of things have been changed. We got a lot of things this past year. Got the grant to get all the HVAC systems redone. That was great. All these schools have these book vending machines. Have you seen those? Those are amazing. For Yeah, no, they do not take the place of the library at all. From what I've seen is that these book machines are used more like as a positive referral system. So students get positive referrals and everything, and they get rewarded for good behavior and things. So they get the tokens to spend on these books. Right. Rewarding positive behavior, and that is so important. No student wants to constantly be told how bad they are and how much trouble they're getting into and what kind of disruptions they're caused. And we're not good. I heard there was a not a great speech for the high schoolers as well, as this is what we're not going to do and not this. If you keep on telling me that, for lack of words, that I ain't shit, then I might just show you how much of I ain't shit I am.
So, if I'm following you, the school system is kind of like a triangle, and you need all three sides to function in sync or in a concerted effort to support the other side. In other words, the parents have to support the students or, their children, and they should support the teachers, and the teachers should support the parents and support the kids. And the kids, well, they just need to be kids and go to school to learn and have fun and, just be kids. Why is it so hard to keep teachers in the Nottoway County public school system?
Um, Probably not as intelligence or the ability. I think there are some issues. Why are we losing teachers so rapidly? Why are teachers leaving our school system and going to neighboring school systems that might not even pay as well? We are a pretty low paying school system. I mean, we're poor. But there's some teachers that have gone to go to even lower paying school systems. What's the problem? I think a lot of money is being spent on administration where some more money needs to be actually poured into our teachers. and their salaries as well. I think teachers are also feeling the crunch with their health insurance. Like, isn't there's got to be better options for them? Why are they struggling to pay bills and to pay health insurance? There's got to be better options for them, and I want to look into that as well.
Okay, so the school system is losing students, it's losing money, if you can look at it in, because it's not a for profit business, but it's obvious that the money it has, it's all not being spent to the greatest effect for the best outcome for the students, um, or the teachers. And it seems that perhaps times are changing, and maybe the psyche of the majority of the teachers, especially the ones that, let's say, stick and stay, uh, is not quite up to snuff, up to par for the circumstances and situations that the children, the students have to live in. You have any thoughts on that? Like the, I guess, the emotional or the mental interplay between the students and the teachers?
Uh, but you know, I think I think some teachers are kind of slow on the new parenting style as well, and they're slow to change their teaching style. Um, you know, Gone away is the time was where you embarrass one child for not completing their homework by writing their name on the board. That's bullying. That's bullying, point blank. If we don't want our children to bully each other, then we don't bully them either as adults. And there's a saying in conscious parenting that do not become your child's first bully. You know, we are the example that we want to set. If we don't want a child to do it, then we just don't do it to them.
So, Miss Messer, if you had to grade Nottoway County Public Schools in their current condition, uh, could you give them a passing grade? And what is, how do Nottoway County Public School students stack up with students from the rest of the state?
Um, no, I can't. I think it needs to change. I think it just needs to be. I think it needs to be a whole rechange. It needs to be redone. I think new people, new ideas, fresh people um, would really help our school system. There are some things I did want to touch on tonight that we haven't touched on lately. Is some of our testing scores. I just looked at the Virginia Department of Education as far as so our reading, we're consistently 10% lower than the state average. It significantly drops in grade 5. That percentage significantly drops in grade 5. I do know they have implemented a new corrective reading program, and the data isn't really out on that yet because I think they just started implementing it maybe last year. So we'll see if that helps a lot. Writing, 13% lower than the state average. Math, 16% lower than the state average. And we get huge deficits when it comes to fifth and seventh grade math. However, sixth grade, we're above average on the state. So whatever our sixth grade math teachers are doing, keep on doing it because y'all are doing a great job. You know,
So it appears that, I mean, even though it unfortunately it's probably a national trend, but it appears that Nottoway County Public Schools are failing. They're failing the students. They're failing the parents. They're failing their employees. And I mean, who can, who do you, Who do you go to? Who do you put the blame on? Um, I guess the question I'm trying to ask is, do you have any idea of a specific cause or maybe a quick cure, a band aid we can stick on this mess to give us time to breathe and recoup and get back on, get back on the right track?
Right, right. And it might be a simple way of how we're teaching the curriculum. And it could also have a lot to do with class size. I looked online and they said our teacher to student ratio was like at 13 to 1. I'm like, huh, I know my daughter's class has 24 students in it. Like, right, class size is ridiculous. Right, and I don't think it's at all has to do anything with a teacher's lack of care for how a student is performing. I just think they're overwhelmed and they're just like, I can't get to every single one. I can, doing the best I can. So I don't think it's the teacher's fault at all, but I think the class size and the class overload is ridiculous. And that, again, goes hand in hand with the teacher shortage. Like, fewer teachers, more kids in a classroom for that one teacher that's sticking it out. So, I love our teachers. I couldn't be one. Thank God for them.
Well, Mr. Messer, it seems that, I mean, I gotta say that I had, I guess, fun. I don't know, fun might be the wrong term, but I'm gonna put it to you this way. I was impressed and I learned something. It's obvious that you are really serious about trying to get this job and do this job. And if you go at it with the vigor and vim that you showed during the interview, I can't see where Nottoway County Public Schools has can get any worse. A ray of sunshine, positivity. I've interviewed you and Mrs. Simmons, and one thing that I've been impressed about from both of you is your dedication to your county and your community. That's outstanding because public service is a dying thing. Well, I'm not going to say public service is a dying thing. Public service with integrity is a dying thing. Um, if you got anything, anybody you want to give a shout out to, I'm going to let you have the last couple of seconds. And as for me, well, y'all know what time it is, and y'all know what I'm going to say. Peace out, and God bless from Uncle Ricky at Uncle Ricky's house.
Um, the school system is very near and dear to my heart, and I have a lot of vested interest in it.
Wait a minute. Wait. One last question. Honestly, what do you think about your chances of winning this election?
Um, I think 50-50. I'm not real sure because of my district. I know a lot of people in this county know me. I've lived here all my life. I've worked here most of my life. And whether it's in a various grocery store or restaurant, right now I work at the extension office. So I do a lot of volunteering with youth organizations in the area. I'm hoping a lot of people will see that and see that where my heart lies and where my priorities are as far as this goes, that my priorities are with these kids and are with our students. Um, so, but I really don't know. I'm in a very conservative area. And I hope that my my political views that I have shown outwardly have not held me back or keeping other people from being open-minded enough to vote for me and to see that school board is not a political thing. My political views, they have nothing to do with me being on school board. Um my everything right. It's everything about the students, the teachers. the staff. It's everything about what I hold dear to me in this county.